So the floor is yours, Wilfried and Philippe. But then you need to unmute. At least one of you. Because now you're muted, Wilfried, and Philippe as well. Or is it just me? Did I lose the sound? Can someone confirm that you can still hear me?
So now I should be.
Yes, now we can hear you. Perfect. Thank you.
Great. And I think the slides are shared, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Yes, great. So welcome everyone. This is me together with Philip today to share our experiences with making a new power adapter for the VIC-20. So basically the story is I got a VIC-20 from a friend, but without power supply. And first I thought I might be able to use just the power supply for the Commodore 64 because I knew that there are VIC-20s with a 7-pin DIN connector, and this is basically the same connector as the C64, and it's also possible to use the power supply of the C64s there. But actually there are two versions for the VIC-20 power supply, and the later revisions, they have the C64 version, or basically it's the other way around, so the VIC-20 came first, but they have already the newer version that also later was then used in the C64. But the earlier versions, they have a strange non-standard connector. So you see here these two prongs. So we just have these two pins and some kind of rectangular thing that has to go in there. And this is the so-called 2-pin connector, and that supplies 9-volt AC, so alternative current, and all necessary voltages are then generated on board by the VIC-20. So the bad news is I didn't have such a connector, and I didn't have such a power supply to power my newly acquired VIC-20. But the good news is that making an AC 9-volt power supply is not that complicated, because basically we just need a transformer and hook it up to the proper connectors. So for the transformer, I found a model that is able to supply close to 3 amps on the secondary side, which is what is needed for the VIC-20, especially when the VIC-20 is run with external hardware. And basically the case was then designed around this transformer, and also to make it look a little bit nicer, we also added a power switch with a LED that indicates if it is on or off on the primary side, which means if the switch is off, then you can be sure that no current is flowing through the transformer, no current is active. So the main work was designing a proper case. So the requirements were that the case should close well, so with not too many screws necessary. So because normally we would have like 2 or 4 screws for fixing the transformer in place. And then we would have another bunch of screws for closing the casing. And after doing some brainstorming and different design ideas, we came up with the idea to have something that shifts into each other, so that we would only have 2 screws that fix the transformer in place as well as close the casing well. So basically the transformer is to be slided into a part that looks like this classic door stopper design we know from C64 or VIC-20. And then we have an L-shaped part that closes it. And you see here on the bottom there are some of our early designs. And on the right side, this is already the rendered model, the rendered 3D model, also with some cooling ribs, which are more there for the fanciness, and some logo in it that should do what it was designed for. So here is a short video that shows how the parts fit together. So for the backside of the L, there are also some indentations. So it has to be slided over well. Now I got it, second trial. And now it's closed. It's still missing the screws, but it's already quite tight. So this part of the design worked well. So for the further parts, now I would hand over to Philip.
I guess you need to unmute as well, Philip.
Okay, yes, I'm now unmuted.
Yes.
We needed connectors to connect with the VIC-20, but this wasn't too easy. You cannot use the you cannot use a non-standard connector. You you cannot use this connector. We had to use connector from Thingiverse, a 3D printed model, and this functioned perfectly. As we had to print a connector, and yes, this was on Thingiverse. As you cannot convert a standard Euro plug. The holes are just too small. Here you can see the wiring and the transformer. So you just need basically a transformer and this switch. And it was very easy. It's a very easy power adapter. It's very easy to make. Here you can see the finished power adapter. Here is the LED on the switch to look nicer, and we have a logo from the Vintage Computing Carinthia. The final test worked successfully. We built two power adapters. The right one is connected and it worked perfectly.
But the other one worked as well.
Yeah, the other one worked as well. Yeah, thank you. So to take away messages, feel free to use our models, rebuild or modify the design. And we uploaded the open SCAD source that you can modify the design. I uploaded it on Thingiverse. There you can download all files. And yes, thank you for your attention. Any questions?
Thanks very much. I don't have a question. I don't see question in the chat. I think it was quite straightforward. It's a nice. I like the nice little box that you can just. Indeed, you have the two parts that fit into one into the other. I think the assembling it is probably more easy than yeah. you know, this famous Swedish company that makes furniture. This is for you. Thanks. I don't know if there are any questions in the chat. I'm looking again. I see no comments, just a very nice power adapter. If anybody has a question, then please ask it now. Otherwise, just thanks again. If some questions come, they can be posted in the chat. I will just stop the